It started with a flicker on a computer screen in a small North London bedroom. One man, a cheap dial-up connection, and a mission that would shake two governments. In the early 2000s, Gary McKinnon wasn't looking for money, fame, or chaos. He was looking for the truth. But what he claimed to find buried deep inside NASA's databases wasn't supposed to exist. He said he found proof of non-terrestrial officers. And when the US government came knocking, they didn't call it curiosity. They called it the biggest military computer hack of all time. Gary McKinnon was not the picture of a criminal mastermind. Born in Glasgow and raised in North London, he was quiet, eccentric, and deeply fascinated by space. Friends described him as gentle, the kind of person who would spend hours discussing the Apollo missions, the Roswell crash, and government cover-ups about UFOs. By day, he worked as a systems administrator. By night, he was obsessed with the idea that governments were hiding technology reverse-engineered from alien craft. It wasn't about power for Gary, it was about proof. He often said, "If there's a free energy source, a cure for climate change, or alien technology out there, people have a right to know." And in 2001, fueled by insomnia, marijuana, and conspiracy theories, Gary decided he was going to find out for himself. The world's most powerful military network was never supposed to be vulnerable. But after the chaos of 9/11, systems were rushed online, often without firewalls or passwords. Gary discovered that many NASA and Pentagon computers were astonishingly unprotected. Using a simple Windows tool called Remote Desktop, he slipped past the virtual gates of the US military. Night after night, he crept into networks belonging to NASA, the US Navy, the Department of Defense, and even the Pentagon. He was quiet, careful, but bold. He left taunting messages on screens like, "Your security is crap." But Gary wasn't stealing files or planting viruses. He said he was searching. And one night, buried deep within a NASA directory called non-terrestrial officers, he found something that would haunt him forever. Gary claimed to have seen a spreadsheet listing names, ranks, and ship assignments of non-terrestrial officers. Next to them, another file, fleet-to-fleet transfers. But the ship names weren't familiar. They weren't submarines, carriers, or anything registered on Earth. He also claimed to have opened a high-resolution satellite image, a massive file of an object floating above the atmosphere. Not a plane, not a satellite, something else.
Smooth, metallic, disk shaped.
Before he could save it, his connection cut out. Moments later, the system locked him out completely. He thought little of it at first, until a few months later someone else came knocking. In 2002, Gary was sitting in his North London flat when the knock came at dawn. Scotland Yard officers burst in, seizing computers, hard drives, and floppy disks. Behind them, agents from the FBI. They accused him of hacking into 97 US military and NASA systems, deleting critical files, and shutting down entire networks. The US claimed he caused $700,000 worth of damage and compromised national defense. They wanted him extradited to face trial in America, where he could face up to 70 years in prison. Gary was stunned. He admitted to hacking, but denied ever damaging anything. "I wasn't trying to harm," he said. "I was looking for suppressed evidence of UFOs. I wanted the truth." To the US government, he was a cyber terrorist. To his supporters, he was a whistleblower, a man who'd stumbled upon something the world wasn't meant to see. As the extradition process dragged on, Gary's mental health began to collapse. He was diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome, a form of autism that made him obsessively focused and socially isolated. His mother, Janice Sharp, fought tirelessly, saying her son would not survive an American supermax prison. But the evidence mounted. US prosecutors said his trail was all over military logs, and his own confession didn't help. Still, one thing never changed: his story. Even under pressure, Gary stuck to his claim. He saw proof that NASA was editing out UFO images before releasing them to the public. He saw non-terrestrial officers on documents. He believed there was, and still is, a secret space fleet. As news spread, the world became divided. Mainstream media mocked his alien claims, but conspiracy circles hailed him as a hero. Public figures like Sting, David Gilmour, and even British MPs called for his release. awaiting extradition. Each year brought new court hearings, new delays, and new headlines. He became a symbol of government secrecy and the power of one man's curiosity. In 2012, after a decade-long battle, the British government finally blocked his extradition, citing his mental health and the risk of suicide. Gary was free but scarred. He withdrew from public life, avoiding interviews and online discussions. Yet the mystery he sparked never faded. To this day, no one knows what he truly saw inside those NASA files. The US government denies any evidence of non-terrestrial officers, and NASA insists he found nothing unusual. But Gary McKinnon's story remains one of the strangest in cybercrime history. A tale of obsession, secrecy, and the thin line between truth and madness. He wasn't chasing money. He wasn't seeking fame. He was chasing a question. What if we're not alone, and someone down here knows it?